This is what y'all do every time a celebrity dies or their child dies. Studio 666, OK hand symbol, devil horns, sign their children up for Kabbalah classes, practicing Kabbalah, practicing Satanism, practicing Luciferianism, Freemasons, Jesuits, symbolism, black and white tile checkerboard floors, sacrifice, blood rituals, whoredom. Soon as they die, oh, we have to send prayers. We have to hashtag prayers up. It's been a while since I did one of these, but I wanted to touch on the death of Taylor Hawkins, who died at age 50, the drummer from Foo Fighters. Most people are already resting in peace and resting in power, resting in paradise. He's up there with the angels. Don't understand what they're talking about. Don't understand how ignorant they are to spiritual ramifications of anything that these rock stars or any of these entertainment acts put themselves through. So I don't care. I'm going to show you I don't care. And what happened to him is deserving.
When Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow was recording its Long Live Rock and Roll album, it was supposedly said the band unintentionally summoned an evil spirit that caused havoc in the studio and even tried to kill Ronnie James Dio's wife Wendy. Many years later, Ronnie revealed that he was always a practitioner of white magic, and he wasn't interested in black magic, which is very dangerous. So yes, snow magic was actually very popular among rock stars in the 70s. But Dio himself claimed he never took any drugs, though. According to Ritchie Blackmore, while Long Live Rock and Roll was being recorded at the Chateau in France, which is a 17th century castle about 20 miles outside of Paris, converted into a recording studio. The sessions were supposedly haunted by a malevolent spirit. Blackmore, long interested in psychic phenomena, claimed that the servant of the 5,000-year-old Babylonian demon Baal, the first lord of hell, plagued them with unplugged mics, tape machines that turned off and on seemingly by themselves, and lights that switched on and off.
The rock group Led Zeppelin came crashing down after the sudden and unexpected death of their drummer, John Bonham. Zeppelin, who sang about having hellhounds on their trail, met with many bizarre tragedies before their ultimate demise. In 1975, both Robert Plant and his former wife, Maureen, were severely injured in an almost fatal car accident in the island of Rhodes. Rock journalist Gary Herman, in his book Rock and Roll Babylon, noted the strange course of events that had come to be known as the Zeppelin Curse, picking it up in 1976. He stated, quote, "It is certainly true that Led Zeppelin as a group have had a peculiarly tragic record of untimely death and severe accidents associated with themselves and their entourage. In 1976, Zepp associate Keith Harwood died in mysterious circumstances. Keith Ralph, formerly of the Yardbirds, which formed the nucleus of Zepp, committed suicide, and the wife of Zepp's road manager, Richard Cole, also died. In 1977, Robert Plant's 5-year-old son, Carrick, died of a virus infection while the group was touring in America." He states that Philip Hale, a photographer, friend of Jimmy Page's, died at one of Page's homes after ingesting too much morphine, cocaine, and alcohol. And in 1980, at another of Page's houses, John Bonham met with his untimely end. Bonham, Led Zeppelin's drummer, like Jimi Hendrix and Bon Scott of AC/DC before him, choked to death on his own vomit. According to coroner's reports, he had consumed the equivalency of 40 measures of vodka. Many of the tragedies that had befallen Led Zeppelin were in fact self-inflicted. After doctors referred to the infection that took Robert Plant's son Carrick as being strange and very rare, Robert Plant later said, quote, "Why do these terrible things keep happening? What the blank is going on?" One disc jockey from Detroit believed that all these tragedies were a no-brainer and provided Plant with what he believed to be the obvious answer. He stated, quote, "If Jimmy Page would just lay off all that mystical, occult stuff and stop unleashing all those evil forces." Jimmy Page sought to evade what was becoming known more and more as the Led Zeppelin curse by saying, quote, "A lot of negative things have occurred recently, but tragedies happen." The London Evening News ran a headline declaring Zeppelin's black magic mystery. The article reported, quote, "An unnamed source close to the group commented, quote, 'It sounds crazy, but Robert Plant and everyone around the band is convinced that Jimmy's dabbling in black magic is responsible in some way to Bonzo's death and for all those other tragedies. I think the 3 remaining members of Zeppelin are now a little afraid of what's going to happen next.'" Jimmy Page would develop more and more phobias. After already fearing flying, he would develop such phobias as vertigo and claustrophobia. Page said that he thought he was, quote, reaping my karma, now heavily, end quote. Robert Plant said, all this success and fame, what's it worth? It doesn't mean very much when you compare it to love of a family.
Foo Fighters, you gotta get me a record.
It's our 10th album. We gotta break the mold on this one. Let's go somewhere we've never been.
This place is amazing.
Do you guys get this overwhelming sense of debt? Whoa. Doesn't really seem like the right fit. Whoa, it's rad. That was weird. The sound of this house is the sound of album 10.
All right, you guys. Amps, living room.
Let me apologize in advance for all the rock we're about to make.
Got a couple of ideas I've been working on. I'll lay them on you. Dude, wait.
It's called Everlong, and you wrote it about 20 years ago.
How you feeling? Everything okay?
Ever since we moved into this house, my mind is flooded.
We all have writer's block.
This is not just a creepy rock and roll house. It allows spiritual entities to cross into our world.
Oh my God!
Dude has got one flew over the cuckoo's nest crazy.
It's this place, man.
Let's finish the track.
Can't we just wait, dude?
Just play the drums.
Found a new musical note?
Hell yes, I did.
It's an L.
Any chefs in the group?
I'm pretty handy on the grill.
Yeah, you like your meat charred and dry.
He does make a killer barbecue.
What do we do?
We go save his ass.
Is the album almost done?
Yeah, it's killer. Here you go, man. Finish the song.
You did.
There's a reason the Foo Fighters' third drummer turned out to be their last. Even for a musical perfectionist like Dave Grohl, Taylor Hawkins was the perfect fit. Taylor grew up in Orange County and got his big break drumming for Alanis Morissette on her massive 2-year Jagged Little Pill tour.
And it just went nuclear, man. It was like, it went nuclear.
But it was immediately following the tour that he left to join, at the time, a much smaller band, but one that he instinctually knew would rock. And he was right. For the next 25 years, he would be known as the long-haired, board-short-wearing drummer of one of the world's biggest rock and roll bands, the Foo Fighters, where he's even been known to steal the show from time to time. We caught up with Taylor back in 2014 when he formed a heavy metal side project called Birds of Satan.
Being a musician, having the comfort of the Foo Fighters, is it easier to pursue these projects?
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, I don't, you know, it gives you that cushion because you have this other thing that you do that you make a living doing, you know, and pays the bills quite well. So I get to sort of indulge myself with all my little flights of sort of fancy and my self-indulgent little side projects.
According to reports, Taylor's body was found Friday in his Columbia hotel room. The Foo Fighters were on a South American tour at the time of his passing. This was the last known time he took to the stage, March 20th in Argentina. Taylor Hawkins was 50 years old and the father of 3 kids. Doug Kolk, KTLA 5 Entertainment.
And the band released this statement tonight. The Foo Fighters family is devastated by the tragic and untimely loss of our beloved Taylor Hawkins. His musical spirit and infectious laughter will live on with all of us forever.
Hawkins is born in the month of February. 2014, he creates a side project rock band called The Birds of Satan. The Foo Fighters released a movie in the month of February titled Studio 666, where a demonically possessed Grove, as you saw in the clip, kills or decapitates Hawkins with his own drum set. The cover art for the album, their 10th studio album, Dream Widow, is the symbol for Aleister Crowley, Book of Thelema, or Law of Thelema, which is do what thou wilt, which is what all these rock bands since the 70s keep incorporating in all of their music. He is ritualized, sacrificed, or killed in South America. 3/25/2022, which is 3, 2 minus 5 is 3, which is 33. They are going to say it was because of a drug overdose, or it was drugs, because Grove has mentioned in a 2010 interview that he dedicated a song to Hawkins after he overdosed. And I said this before, if you are not awakened, and if they want to set a trap for you where everybody believes it, all they got to do is go through your past, your history, to find out what your guilty sin is. If it was drinking, if it was drug, if it was partying, if it was women, that is how you fall. That's how they did Homeboy from The Wire. He did an interview talking about his struggle with drug addiction, popped up with fentanyl. They have tried to get me too. Numerous times. They tried to lure me into clubs to where I'm drunk or drinking, and if I was died or ritualized or sacrificed, it would be believable because everybody knows my history with being in clubs, fighting in clubs, and being drunk and belligerent. That is how they get you. If you connected to the system, that is how you fall. But they can't connect me to anything because I isolated myself from this world in a way where you gotta meet me one-on-one. You can't just sacrifice, ritualize me, and have everybody believe it now because I've stopped doing certain things or certain behaviors.